It was a cold morning at Naval Base Ventura, the kind where fog hugged the sea and the sound of gulls mixed with the echo of marching boots. The base cafeteria buzzed with chatter, young recruits laughing, some boasting, some complaining about training drills. Before we jump in, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? If this kind of storytelling speaks to you, subscribe for more moments that actually mean something. At the far end, a tall woman in a navy blue coat quietly entered. Her hair was tied neatly, her expression calm yet unreadable. Nobody recognized her. She wasn't wearing rank insignia, just a plain overcoat, gloves, and a quiet confidence that made her stand out even without trying dotted a nearby table. Private Tom Harris, a loud, cocky young sailor with a smirk that came too easily, was joking with his friends. "Watch this," he said, holding a steaming paper cup of coffee. "Let's see if Miss Perfect over there can handle a little naval welcome." Before anyone could stop him, Tom stood, walked toward the woman, and accidentally on purpose stumbled, splashing hot coffee all over her pristine coat. The cafeteria went silent. The liquid dripped down her sleeve, staining the dark wool. Tom laughed. "Oops. Sorry, ma'am. Didn't see you there." Her eyes slowly lifted, calm, piercing, ocean-deep eyes. She didn't yell. She didn't flinch. She simply said, in a voice so steady it silenced every laugh in the room, "You'll see me again, sailor. Make sure you remember this moment." And with that, she walked away, leaving the whole cafeteria frozen. Tom grinned, brushing it off. "Relax, guys. She's probably just a civilian. No big deal." He had no idea that woman was Admiral Rebecca Hale, the newly appointed Commander of Naval Operations. And in less than 24 hours, his entire world was about to flip upside down. The next morning, the air on the base was different. Everyone had been ordered to assemble at the main hangar for a high-level introduction. Rumors spread like wildfire. A new admiral, a change in leadership, someone big coming in from Washington. Tom Harris yawned as he adjusted his uniform. "Probably another old guy with a chest full of medals," he joked to his friend. "Private Lewis. Let's hope he doesn't make us scrub decks for fun." The loudspeakers crackled. "All personnel, stand by for the arrival of the new Admiral of Naval Operations, Admiral Rebecca Hale." Tom's smirk faded instantly. Rebecca Hale? That name echoed in his head. It couldn't be the same woman. Could it? Then she walked in. No overcoat, this time. No mystery. Her crisp uniform gleamed, rows of ribbons and a shining gold insignia that caught the light like fire. Her boots echoed on the floor with calm, unhurried authority. And those same ocean-deep eyes swept over the entire formation and paused on Tom. Tom felt his stomach twist. His throat went dry. His hands started to shake. Admiral Hale stood at the podium. Her voice was firm, resonant, the kind that made every soldier straighten their spine. "I am Admiral Rebecca Hale. I've served this Navy for 23 years. I've seen men rise to greatness, and I've seen arrogance destroy potential. I'm here to make sure respect is earned again, not demanded." The hangar was silent. Then, without looking at her notes, she said, almost casually, "Yesterday, one of your fellow sailors decided to welcome someone with coffee. A minor incident, yes, but it showed me something deeper, a lack of discipline, a lack of awareness." Tom's heart thudded against his ribs. Everyone turned their heads. They already knew who it was. Admiral Hale's gaze locked on him. Calm, sharp, icy. Private Harris stepped forward. Tom swallowed hard, his boots echoing like gunshots on the metal floor as he stepped out. "Ma'am, She raised a hand. "No excuses. You'll have time to speak later. For now, you'll remember that rank means nothing if you can't respect the uniform no matter who wears it." Her tone wasn't angry. It was disappointed. And somehow, that was worse. Then she did something nobody expected. "You're assigned to my command for the next 8 weeks. Every order, every task, every protocol, you'll learn under me directly. You'll rebuild your respect from the ground up." Tom froze. He wanted to vanish. But she turned away, signaling the end of discussion. Dismiss. As the crowd dispersed, Lewis whispered, "Dude, you're done for." Tom didn't reply. His mind was spinning. Humiliation, fear, and something else he couldn't name. Guilt. He realized this wasn't going to be punishment, it was going to be a lesson. One that might just change his life forever. The next morning, Tom reported to the Admiral's office at 06:00 hours sharp. He barely slept. His mind replayed yesterday over and over. That one foolish act of arrogance now haunting him like a shadow. The door to Admiral Hale's office stood open. She was already there, standing beside a large map of the Pacific Fleet. The early light from the window painted her uniform in gold. Without looking at him, she said, "You're 5 minutes early, Private." "Good. Let's see if you can keep that habit." "Ma'am?" "Yes, ma'am," he stammered. "Drop the ma'am every 2 seconds. Speak like a sailor, not a robot," she said calmly, still reviewing reports. "Tell me, Private Harris, why did you think it was funny?" Tom froze. His mouth opened, but no words came out. "Why throw coffee on someone you don't know?" She continued. "Did it make you feel powerful?" "No, Admiral, I didn't think. That's the problem." She cut in sharply. "You didn't think. You reacted. You acted like respect was optional." She turned, eyes sharp but not cruel. "Sit down." Tom obeyed, unsure whether to look up or down. She placed a file in front of him. Inside were photos, not of herself, but of soldiers. Young men and women. Some smiling. Some standing proudly in uniform. Some ... marked deceased in action. "These," she said softly, "are people I serve with." Every single one of them knew what respect meant. Not just for rank. For each other. For the mission. For the sacrifice. Her voice softened further, almost a whisper. "I wasn't born an Admiral, Harris. I was once the one being laughed at too." Tom looked up, confused. She smiled faintly. "When I first joined, my male peers didn't think a woman could command. They called me names behind my back, poured water on my bunk. Once someone even locked me in a supply room during night watch." Tom's eyes widened. "What did you do?" "I outlasted them. I outperformed them. And when they needed someone to lead them through a storm, they followed me because they finally saw what strength really looks like." She stepped closer. Voice firm again. "I'm not here to humiliate you, Harris. I'm here to show you what respect really means. You want to be a soldier? Then start acting like one." Tom's throat tightened. You wanted to say sorry, but the word felt too small. Admiral Hale looked at him for a long moment, then said quietly, "Report to the dockyard at 0500 tomorrow. You'll be under Chief Petty Officer Delgado. He'll teach you how to work with the crew you disrespected." "Yes, Admiral," Tom said, his voice trembling but sincere as he stood to leave. She added, "And Harris, don't think this is punishment. It's your second chance." When he stepped outside, the morning air hit him like a wave. For the first time since joining the Navy, he didn't feel like joking. He felt determined. He realized that Admiral Hale hadn't destroyed him. She just started rebuilding him. The sun hadn't risen yet when Tom arrived at the dockyard. The air was heavy with salt and diesel, and the low hum of ships preparing for deployment filled the silence of dawn. He reported to Chief Petty Officer Delgado, a man built like steel, quiet, strict, and known for breaking arrogant recruits in days. Delgado didn't say much when Tom saluted. He simply pointed to a broom and said, "You're not a soldier here. You're a worker. The deck's filthy. Start cleaning." Tom nodded and began sweeping, the smell of oil mixing with seawater as he worked. Every motion burned his pride a little more. Around him, other sailors moved efficiently, polishing, tightening, repairing. No one mocked him. No one helped him either. By noon, his uniform was soaked with sweat. By sunset, his arms ached, his hands blistered, and his mind buzzed with exhaustion. That night, he sat by the pier, staring at the waves. He'd always thought strength meant talking loud and acting tough. But watching those sailors work in silence, precise, coordinated, disciplined, he realized real strength didn't need noise. Over the next few days, Admiral Hale would appear occasionally, silently observing from a distance. She never spoke, never interfered. But Tom could feel her presence, and somehow that made him push harder. One afternoon, while securing ropes with another sailor, Tom's grip slipped. The rope lashed out, cutting his palm. He hissed in pain, and the other sailor, Corporal Vega, quickly grabbed the med kit. "Hold still, rookie," Vega said. "You'll scar if you don't clean it right." Tom looked surprised. "You're helping me? After what I did?" Vega chuckled. "We all screw up, Harris. What matters is if you fix it. Admiral Hale sees something in you, or she wouldn't waste her time." That night, Tom lay awake, thinking about those words. She sees something in you. For the first time, he wondered why Admiral Hale hadn't just disciplined him officially or transferred him out. Why did she choose to teach him instead? The next morning, Hale called him to her office again. She looked over a report before speaking. "You've been putting in extra hours. Chief Delgado said you didn't complain once." Tom stood straight. "I figured I owed it to the crew, Admiral." "You owe it to yourself," she corrected. "Every man who serves this country carries his own shadow. Discipline isn't about following orders. It's about mastering that shadow." Then she handed him a sealed folder. "Tomorrow we leave for Operation Silent Watch, a live sea drill. You'll be part of the operations crew. Observe, learn, and don't disappoint me." Tom blinked. "Ma'am, Admiral, I'm not trained for." She smiled slightly. "Then it's a good thing you'll be with me." For a moment, the cocky recruit inside him wanted to panic, but the new version of him, forged in long hours and humility, nodded silently. As he saluted, Admiral Hale said quietly, almost to herself, "Let's see if the sea can teach you what no classroom can." That night, Tom stood on the deck, looking out over the moonlit water, the waves whispering against the hull. For the first time in his life, he felt something new. Not pride, not fear, but purpose. The sea was calm that morning. Too calm. Gray skies stretched endlessly, and the hum of the destroyer USS Valor cut through the mist like a steady heartbeat. Tom stood near the command deck, headset on, his eyes locked on the waves. He was part of the observation crew now, surrounded by sailors he once thought were beneath him, men and women who'd earned every inch of their uniform. Admiral Hale stood at the helm, her posture unshakable, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Maintain heading at 075, she ordered. "Keep radar sweep at full range. There's a pressure drop coming." Her instincts were sharp, and minutes later, the first gust of wind began to roll in. Within an hour, the sea transformed. Gentle waves turned into crashing walls of water. The ship began to heave violently, the sky darkened, and thunder rolled like artillery fire. The crew moved fast, securing lines, closing hatches, locking down cargo. Tom gripped the railing as the ship pitched hard to port. "Ma'am, this is getting rough. Should we drop anchor?" he shouted. Hale's voice cut through the chaos. "You never anchor in a storm, Harris. You face it head on, or it swallows you." Rain slashed across the deck like knives. A piece of equipment broke loose, crashing toward a junior sailor. Without thinking, Tom lunged forward, pulling the sailor out of harm's way, the metal crate smashing inches from their feet. Hawley saw it all, and for a brief second, their eyes met through the rain. No words. Just a look, one that carried silent acknowledgement. Hours passed before the storm began to break. The crew was exhausted, drenched, but alive. The ship had held. As dawn cracked through the dissipating clouds, Hawley ordered the crew to assemble. The wind was calmer now, carrying only the soft hiss of the retreating sea. She looked around at her soaked, weary sailors, and then directly at Tom. Yesterday, I saw a reckless boy. Today, I saw a sailor. Tom stood silently, his uniform clinging to him, water dripping from his cap. Courage isn't loud, Holly continued. It's not about proving you're strong. It's about protecting those beside you, even when you're terrified. Then she said something that stayed with him forever. Leadership doesn't begin when you give orders. It begins the moment you start caring. The entire crew stood quietly, the weight of her words sinking deep. Tom's chest tightened. He felt something he hadn't felt in years. Pride, but the kind that came from earning it. He stepped forward, saluted, and said with quiet conviction, "Thank you, Admiral, for not giving up on me." For the first time, she smiled fully. I never give up on sailors who still have fight left in them. A few weeks later, Tom was promoted. Not because of his rank or connections, but because of how he'd changed. He carried himself differently now, humble, focused, calm dot. And on the day Admiral Hale left for her next assignment, she passed him in the corridor, without stopping. She said softly, "You taught me something too, Harris, that even arrogance can turn into honor if guided right." He didn't reply. He just saluted her, perfectly, with respect not out of fear, but from the heart. As she boarded the transport ship, Tom whispered to himself, "The day I spilled that coffee was the day I started becoming a soldier." Sometimes life's harshest lessons come disguised as humiliation, but those who face them with courage come out not broken, but reborn. That's the end of today's story, but I hope it stays with you for a while. If something in it spoke to you, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and share your thoughts. It's your comments that keep me inspired to make the next one.